Hey, what's going on, guys? I want to talk about a variety of topics for this video. First thing, I want to touch on someone commented on Honor Hammer's video. He said, why do you guys have to copy off Sanders Robin all the time? And basically, Honor Hammer just did a review on ROH on HDNet over the DVD cover. I mean, people have been doing that for years. I don't know why, all of a sudden people think that I'm the one that started that. That's very, very far from the truth. If someone takes one of my ideas, like it's doing ROH reviews and putting the DVD covers over them. There's nothing wrong with that. I thought that was the best way to do it, and if someone thought it was cool, if they think it works, if they think that's what's going to get more people to check out DVDs, then I have no problem with people taking ideas from other people. It's I think we're all part of the same team. Our message is to get professional wrestling more exposure, to get ROH, PWG more exposure, and at the same time for WWE and TNA to improve. Like I said, we're all part of the same team, and personally for me, I'm not trying to become the most popular person on YouTube, and I think everyone else pretty much has the same goal, to for these other promotions just to get more popular and for people to check them out, and if we could use, if we think, taking someone's ideas or taking someone's format and applying them to our own videos just to make some of these shows more appealing, then I think we should go for it. So I'm supportive of anyone that wants to use an idea and to try to make you know um, make their videos more interesting, more appealing. So just wanted to make that clear. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Bryan Danielson, Michael Cole situation on WWE NXT. Obviously, the promo was amazing. It's I mean, it's just I'm so glad that people are finally getting to see Bryan Danielson, the real Bryan Danielson. I always thought he was very, very underrated on the mic, especially in 2006. I mean, he just has a very, very nice, cocky character to him, and I just loved it. It was a great promo. My thoughts are pretty much, what everyone else said. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And let me just say about Michael Cole. Michael Cole, I think he could play a great heel. A lot of internet fans, smart fans do hate him because it's easy to see what Michael Cole's all about. He's not great at his job. He's kind of like semi-paranoid. He's one of these guys that he just seems like he tries way too hard to impress Vince McMahon, tries way too hard to impress everyone, and it just kind of gets annoying after a while. And he just he's not. You could tell he's not a big fan of independent Japanese wrestling. He's not a real like hardcore technical wrestling fan. So I think everyone pretty much could see right through him. So I think him and Bryan Danielson in a feud together, even though it's not a wrestling feud, it's just really, really good stuff, and just a great way to introduce Bryan Danielson and to get the fans on Bryan Danielson's side, at least the real fans of Bryan Danielson's side. I'm sure there's some people out there in the WWE universe that are supporting Michael Cole, but it's been great stuff. As far as TNA goes, um, you know, it's been the same problems. I don't want to bitch about it. It's been the same stuff. They got too much guys on the roster that don't need to be working there, and I totally agree with that. But that's been the case for a while now. Um, but as far as Rob Van Dam goes, I just want to say I support Rob Van Dam being the champion. I think RVD. I don't really think he's someone that's going to rest on his reputation. I think I think he's really going to put forth an effort and put on a great title reign. I think he does deserve a chance to be the champion. He's never really had a chance to carry the ball like he's doing right now. So I have no problem with it. Slammiversary doesn't look good to me. It looks very, very skippable. But I'm excited about TNA in the future. I think things look great. I like Angle's character right now. I think it's awesome. Him trying to go through everyone. I think an RVD ankle match at Bound for Glory could be insane. That's something I do want to see. But I don't know. They got so much great talent. Motor City Machine Guns is a tag team that definitely needs to be elevated like ASAP. And we'll just see what happens there. But it's the same old stuff with WWE and TNA, in my opinion. Just nothing special. But I'm pretty optimistic, though. I think once the playoffs are over and once SummerSlam gets going and Bound for Glory gets some build up, I think things are going to get good. So as far as Ring of Honor goes, everyone check out Supercard of Honor 5 when it comes out on DVD. I wish I had put more emphasis into the live review of it. Um, but definitely check it out. Like I said, the last three matches were just insane. Um, at ROHWrestling.com, 40% off sale. You could actually pre-order Bitter Friends, Different Enemies 2 from Chicago That's supposed to be one of the best Chicago shows in a very long time. So try to get your hands on that. Pick Your Poison, the Dayton show. That's actually supposed to be pretty good as well. And what else is going on with ROH? Death Before Dishonor. I believe it's airing June 19th on Go Fight Live. As far as the card, the card looks insane. I think this would probably top Supercard of Honor and top the Big Bang, and this would probably end up being the best show of the year. It just looks sweet from top to bottom. You get Kevin Steen versus El Generico. We've been waiting for that match for a long time now. Um, that's just going to be insane. I mean, that might main event the show, and then you get Tyler Black and Davey Richards. They've had great matches in the past, but I seriously believe Davey Richards is going to win this match. He has so much momentum. Tyler Black's been a good champion. You would think he would get a longer title reign, but if they're going to give Davey the shot now, I say you got to give him the title. I think he's too hot right now. I think it'd be a mistake if they have Black go over Davey Richards. I mean, even if Tyler Black does win the match, I'm not so sure how they could book it where they can make Davey Richards, still look like a legit threat for the title. Obviously, Davey's always going to be a threat for the title, but to still make him look strong without losing any momentum. So I think Davey's so high. You got to give him the title now. And plus, I've heard that Tyler Black has a high interest of going to the WWE. So obviously he's probably not going to be that long after his contract expires. I believe his contract lasts until September, from what I remember. But my one problem with Death Before Dishonor 8, obviously you do get Christopher Daniels and Kenny Omega going at it. That should be a great match. Christopher Daniels actually, I've heard that he might be going back to TNA. He might not be that committed to ROH. Which I think is a mistake. I don't really think they used him right after Final Resolution. He was very poorly in my opinion. Even if he was leaving, I mean, you still got to give him an incentive to resign with the company. Um, I don't know. I just don't think he would fit in that well. There's so much saturated fat, so to speak, on the TNA roster right now. I think he should just stay in Ring of Honor and just focus on that. And I don't know. Maybe he's not making enough money. I'm not sure if that's going to support his family. I know Daniels has kids. It's not like Tyler Black or Davey Richards where he's still either has a girlfriend or had just gotten married. So it's a totally different situation for Daniels. Maybe he does need the money in TNA. I'm not sure, but the Go Fight Live quality. I'm not looking forward to watching this pay-per-view because of the quality. I don't know about you guys, but I think the quality sucks. It freezes on me. I can't blow up the screen, and I mean, I could blow up the screen, but it looks like it's going on in slow motion. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not getting the kind of quality that you guys are getting, or what have you. But it still should be a great show. You'll still probably enjoy it on Go Fight Live. So that's Death Before Dishonor 8. That will be taking place in Toronto, Canada on June 19th. Davey Richards versus Tyler Black. PWG. Let me touch on PWG really quickly. Nightmare made a video about this. Talked about. I'm the one that said, I'm sure other guys believe this as well, that PWG is probably the most consistent promotion in the United States right now. Now, I would agree, strictly as far as professional wrestling, just wrestling matches go, I would say that they are. And a lot of that has to do with because, they only run one show a month, and they try to bring in as much talent as they can. But, I would kind of agree with Nightmare Baller. Like, just from watching the PWG Sells Out shows, you could tell a lot of the matches were a little bit more dramatic. There's a little bit more storyline input through a lot of those matches. But at the same time, just from the PWG sample of PWG Sells Out, the older stuff from 03, 04, and maybe even early 05, it just, as far as match quality and crowd reaction goes, it's not really shows that I really want to check out. Even though High Spots is selling those shows for $5 a piece, I really don't even think it's worth it. I just was not impressed by the product back then. Joey Ryan, Chris Bosh, Super Dragon. I just really don't care for any of those guys. I think they're good, but I was just really not that big of a fan of the early PWG stuff. But maybe I should check out a whole show and then judge it. But just like I said, just off of the PWG Sells Out stuff, I'm just really not that interested. All right, really quickly, NBA playoffs tonight. The Suns and the Lakers. Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. I think the Lakers will close it out tonight, but wouldn't count the Suns out there. They've been playing great. Ron Artest rebounded Kobe shot, scored at the buzzer to secure the Lakers the victory. Lakers haven't been playing great, but Phoenix I'm very, very proud of Phoenix. I'm glad they made a series out of this. I'm glad that this series actually went 6 games. I was afraid it was going to be a sweep, but this has been a great series. Really, really fun to watch. Boston Celtics defeated the Orlando Magic. I kind of feel like an idiot because I picked Miami over Boston. But I thought Dwayne Wade would have carried them past Boston, and he did a great job. But Boston's just such a, they just got healthy. I didn't think they were going to end up this healthy. Rondo has surprised the shit out of me, and then at the same time, you got Nate Robinson who came off the bench last night, just blew everyone away. He had that crowd rocking last night. So and then, they got great guys coming off the bench too, Boston. So it's just been a spectacular team. They really surprised me, and I think we will get a Boston Los Angeles Finals rematch. Obviously, that's probably going to happen. And let me tell you guys, I think Kobe's still pissed off about the last defeat from 2008. It still eats him alive. So this should be a very, very interesting series. So we'll see what happens there. All right, guys, thanks for watching.